Sidi's life is shattered when her brother, Onye, tragically dies under mysterious circumstances. As the police dismiss it as a simple accident, Sidi's heart aches with unanswered questions. Her world turns upside down when she discovers a hidden notebook belonging to her mother, Amina. In its pages, Sidi uncovers a devastating secret, a forbidden affair with a man named Omar and a volatile argument with Onye just days before his death. As Sidi pieces together the disturbing truth, she begins to suspect that her mother's actions may have been the cause of Onye's fatal fall. Torn between loyalty to her mother and the need for justice for Onye, Sidi is forced to confront a painful reality. Can she keep her mother's secret, or will she expose the truth, no matter the cost? This heart-wrenching folktale reveals the devastating consequences of hidden truths, betrayal, and the courage it takes to do what's right, even when it tears a family apart. Sidi had always felt close to her family. Her mother, Amina, was the heart of their home, and her brother, Onye, was her best friend. The two of them spent countless hours together, laughing, talking, and making memories. Their father, who had passed away when Sidi was just a little girl, was a distant memory to her. But in her heart, she always believed that their small family was filled with love and happiness. However, everything changed the night Onye died. The evening started like any other. Sidi had just finished her studies and was preparing for bed when she heard a loud crash from downstairs. Rushing down, she found her mother standing in the living room, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. Onye was lying on the floor, his body unnaturally still, and there was blood. Amina was hysterical, crying uncontrollably. "Sidi, your brother is gone. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to hurt him." Her words were jumbled, full of panic. Sidi didn't understand. She couldn't understand. Onye had been so full of life, so young and full of promise. And now he was gone. The police arrived soon after, and they treated the scene like a terrible accident. They didn't ask too many questions. They believed Amina when she said that she had been trying to stop Onye from leaving the house in a hurry and that they had struggled. Onye, in a rush, had fallen and hit his head. The story made sense. The police didn't investigate much further. It seemed like a tragic accident. But for Sidi, something didn't feel right. The way her mother reacted, her eyes filled with too much guilt and too many tears, didn't match the story of an accidental fall. She didn't speak up at first, though. She didn't want to question her mother, the woman who had always taken care of her. She loved her, and she couldn't bear the thought of losing her, too. Weeks passed, and life slowly returned to a new kind of normal. The house was quieter now. Sidi could still hear the faint sound of Onye's laughter in her mind, but it was just a memory. She stayed busy with school, trying to block out the pain. But no matter how hard she tried, there was a feeling deep inside her that something was wrong. One evening, when Amina had gone out to visit a relative, Sidi found herself in her mother's room, absent-mindedly looking through a drawer. She wasn't sure why she was there, but the urge to look through her mother's things was strong. As she sifted through the papers, her fingers brushed against something strange, a small, worn notebook. She opened it and began to read. The first few pages were full of familiar things, shopping lists, reminders, and some random thoughts. But then, Sidi found something that made her stomach drop. Her mother had written about a man, someone named Omar. As she read further, it became clear that her mother had been having an affair with him. The writing was full of emotion. Amina spoke about her love for Omar, how he had made her feel alive again after their husband's death. She wrote about their secret meetings, the time they spent together. But then, one entry caught Sidi's eye. It was dated just days before Onye's death. "I can't take it anymore," the note said. "Omar wants me to leave my family, but I can't. I can't break my children's hearts." Sidi is too young, and onye, he won't understand. I love them both, but I also love Omar. What should I do? Sidi's hands trembled as she read the words. Her mind raced. Could this be connected to what happened to onye? Could her mother's secret relationship have had something to do with his death? As she flipped through more pages, the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. Amina's writing spoke of an argument with onye, just before he died. It was about the affair. Ali had found out about Omar, and he had confronted their mother. She had tried to hide it, but onye had been furious. He had threatened to tell Sidi, to tell everyone about the affair. Sidi's heart pounded in her chest. Could it be true? Had onye's anger pushed their mother to do something she regretted? The next few days were a blur for Sidi. She couldn't stop thinking about what she had read. She kept replaying the argument between her mother and onye in her mind, wondering if it had gone too far. She couldn't shake the thought that there was something more to her brother's death than just a tragic accident. Sidi decided to confront her mother. But she didn't know how to begin. How could she ask her about something so terrible? How could she accuse her mother of something so monstrous? One evening, when Amina was sitting quietly in the living room, Sidi took a deep breath and walked in. Her mother looked up and smiled, but there was something in her eyes, something that made Sidi hesitate. "Mom," she began, her voice shaking. "I found something. I found the notebook." Amina's face went pale. Her eyes widened, and her lips parted as though she had lost her breath. "Sidi, please, you don't understand." But Sidi wasn't going to back down. "I know about Omar. I know about the affair. And I know about the argument with onye. Tell me the truth, Mom. Did you hurt him?" Amina stood up, her hands trembling. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Tears filled her eyes, and she collapsed into the chair, sobbing uncontrollably. "I never wanted it to happen," she whispered between sobs. "I loved you both. But Omar, he was everything to me. And onye, he was so angry. He was going to ruin everything." Sidi's heart broke. She had never seen her mother so vulnerable, so full of regret. But that didn't make it any easier to hear the truth. "What happened, Mom?" Sidi asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Amina wiped her tears away, taking a deep breath. "It was an accident, Sidi. I swear to you, I didn't mean to hurt him. But when he found out about Omar, I panicked. He was yelling at me, saying that I was a bad mother. I pushed him, just to get him away from me, but he fell. He hit his head. I didn't know what to do. I didn't mean for it to go so far. I just wanted him to stop." Sidi couldn't speak. The words hung in the air like a heavy weight. She wanted to scream, to accuse her mother of murder, but she couldn't. She was torn between the love she had for Amina and the unbearable truth of what had happened. "I know it's hard to believe, but I never wanted onye to die," Amina continued, her voice full of anguish. "I loved him, too. I didn't mean to hurt him. But in the moment, I was so scared. I didn't know what else to do." Sidi sat down beside her mother, her heart aching. She wanted to tell her that everything would be okay, but she knew it couldn't be. The truth was out, and nothing could change what had happened. The silence in the room was heavy. Sidi's mind raced with questions. What should she do now? Should she tell the police? Should she expose her mother for what she had done? Or should she keep the secret, carry the burden of knowing that her mother had caused her brother's death? In the days that followed, Sidi couldn't shake the weight of her decision. She didn't know what was right. Her mother had made a terrible mistake, but she was still the woman who had raised her, loved her, and cared for her. The thought of exposing her mother, of tearing their family apart, was unbearable. But Sidi knew that she couldn't live with the secret forever. She had to make a choice. And in the end, she realized that the truth would set her free, even if it meant destroying everything she had known. It was time to make the hardest decision of her life. Sidi decided to speak to the police. She knew it would be difficult, but she understood that justice had to be done. It wasn't about punishing her mother, it was about honoring Ollie's memory and giving him the justice he deserved. The investigation was painful. It was hard to see her mother in the cold light of the law, to watch her face as she was questioned about Ollie's death. But Sidi stood by her mother, even though she knew the truth would change everything. In the end, Amina was arrested, and the family was torn apart. But for Sidi, the burden of knowing the truth had been lifted. It didn't make the pain of losing Ollie any easier, but it gave her the strength to move forward. She learned that sometimes, the hardest thing to do is the right thing. And in the end, that's what mattered the most.